Okay, I think we're ready to go ahead and start the regular meeting in the Zion Park District for November 19th. Eric, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Magera,
Here.
Commissioner Buckholz,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Pye,
You.
President Hartman.
Here. Okay, I will need a motion. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the board on the 15th of October, 2015, and also the minutes of the Personnel and Finance Subcommittee on October 15th, 2015.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
All right, Secretary, read the roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Magera,
Aye.
Commissioner Buckholz,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. Okay, I'd like to welcome Jim Rock. For those that you don't know, that's our attorney. And Jim, I want to sincerely thank you for everything you do for this park district.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
You're outstanding, and the support you give us is just outstanding. So I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And Mr. Phillips, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We either love you or hate you, but this time we love you. So thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. We moved you up, as Marilyn stated, so that we could, I know you have another appointment you have to be at, so we want to try to get you out of here as quick as we can.
Thank you. As long as I'm in front of Jen, I'm fine.
You built by the hour.
Okay,
So you're going to move item 9 to item
number
5A.
5A, yes,
Okay, before you approve the agenda with that change.
right. Okay. Any commissioner comments?
Oh, we have to approve the agenda, so.
Okay.
The other thing is we don't need an executive session, so.
Okay, we don't.
Okay, so
Okay.
now we can approve the agenda without.
All right. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for this evening, November 19th, 2015.
Second.
I'll second the agenda.
Secretary, read the roll call, please.
Commissioner Buckholz,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Magera,
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. Okay, any commissioner comments?
I got one. Yesterday with the senior luncheon, I think the Zion Park District staff did a great job serving the food. Everything was great. It went like clockwork. I was really happy how hard they put on a lunch in for all 150 seniors in the hour. That was really good.
Jesse, and Bob held his job down too.
Yeah, it was. And I'd like to echo Jesse's comments. It was the first time I attended, and it was it was very nice.
Yeah, it was a
Well
great job.
attended, yes, did a great job.
And then the other thing was the Halloween party. I know everybody here was involved with that, and I can't thank everybody enough for the outstanding job they did there, because this place was packed. And you know, when you get that many kids in one area, you know what can happen. And it was everything but that. I mean, everything just ran so smooth. I know Kay was running around with the chicken without her head cut off. I know Debbie, everybody, Sally, they all did a fantastic job. And again, does it surprise me? Absolutely not. I mean, this is such a well-oiled machine, this park district. I'm so proud to be a part of it. So thanks again, and board members, if you see any of the staff walking around, shake their hand and thank them for the outstanding jobs they do, not just on weekends or events, but every day of the week. They deserve it. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the attorney?
Other than thank you for participating in the seminar earlier today.
That was an eye-opener.
Yes, I was gonna bring up some of that in my report,
Terrific.
what happened this morning.
Yeah,
at
thank,
that.
thank you for having us. So,
Wish I could have been there most of it
Oh.
myself.
We
yes, ma'am.
missed 5A, so
Yep.
this is
Okay,
Dave's.
Dave, you're up, sir.
Good evening. I'll work backwards and do the 2015B first and then come back to the 2015A. I believe that you have the information before you. The thing to have you pay attention to is that the district is issuing $729,490 of limited tax park bonds, and they were split between a maturity in 2015, which is the Series A, and then Series 2015B, which is the 2017 maturity. The 2017 maturity was the one that was publicly offered, and First Merit Bank was the low bidder, as Eric has indicated, at that 1.9%, which is really a very, very good interest rate. The purposes are for the 2009 A and B alternate bonds and the 2009 debt certificates. So none of the tipping fees or operating revenues of the district are being used for the repayment of any of this long-term debt. And that's allowing you to build your cash reserves and fund capital out of your operations as opposed to bleeding off that revenues, for this for these long-term obligations. So this is the second step of a multi-step operation that's allowing you to make up that ground. And so it's great to be able to have these type of results with the banking relationship that you have with First Merit. You also received a bid from First Midwest, which was about 100 basis points higher than First Merit, but it's great to see their willingness to put a bid in which they thought was a fair bid, but that First Merit obviously blew through them and did an excellent job. The district in the 2015 A bonds are buying that 1-year maturity from the fund balance that you have in your IMRF fund. And so it's a good investment for you because from an interest rate standpoint, it's the same interest rate as the low bid from First Merit, and that's able to then move that forward and say a lot of the local banks bid the same for a 2-year maturity, bidding the same interest rate for the 1 year as they do for the second year. So certainly it's appropriate to look at that as a fair way to identify what's a fair rate for the district. On your behalf, when you look at the certificates of deposit or the money market account kind of return on investment, you're not able to earn anywhere near that 1.9%. So it's good for the district as well as it's good for I guess from a borrowing side as well as from an investment side for the district, and that's really the balance that you're achieving with being able to identify the best rate for the second maturity, and I'll be able to apply that forward into the 2016 maturity as well. So certainly would recommend the acceptance of the low bid from First Merit for the 2015 B bonds, and the same would be said for the 2015 A in awarding that bid to the Park District and to your operating funds for that investment. You have before you an ordinance that's been prepared by Chapman and Cutler for the levies that would go on file with the county for the extension and collection of taxes. As you know, this is not an increase in taxes because we're maintaining the same level of basically within 0.8% of what it was last year, which was the CPI factor from 2014 that's applied to the 2015 debt service extension base. So we're covering your issuance costs, covering your long-term debt, all within these limited bonds. I would compliment Eric because we started with a process of having a small contribution from the operating fund, but once he raised the point of, well, if we're doing this as a taxable deal anyway, let's throw in our cash contribution and not have to do that. And that's an excellent indication of his awareness of kind of the model and the way that this is being applied. And so it worked out very, very well to be able to upsize that accordingly and be able to not require those operating revenues to be spent at all for those June 2016 interest payments on those alternate bonds, the 2009 A and B. So kudos to the staff to have the awareness of being able to come up with a good solution to tweak the original model, because it worked out very well. So, open to answer any questions you may have.
Any commissioners have any questions? Okay, and then we'll make a motion to approve ordinance 820. So I'm going to entertain a motion to approve ordinance 820, and please read that verbatim. That's stated on the agenda sheet.
I'll entertain the motion, ordinance 820, an ordinance providing for the issuance of $338,305 taxable general obligation limited tax refunding park bonds, Series 2015A, and $391,185 general obligation limited tax refunding park bonds, Series 2015B of the Zion Park District, Lake County, Illinois, for the purpose of providing for the payment of certain outstanding obligations of said park district, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchasers thereof.
I will second it.
Okay, I have a second. Secretary, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Magera,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Buckholz,
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. Mr. Phillips, again, I appreciate you coming out and taking time out and going over this with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure. It's nice to see the model working and doing what we had talked about a year ago, and so it's great to see a trajectory being implemented like this. I think we're pleased to be a part of it.
It's mind-boggling, and it's very serious, and it's mind-boggling, and again, people that are involved with this deserve every dime they get paid for it to do it, because it's very complicated, and the people that do it every day are confused. So you can only imagine. So again, thank you, sir.
Including me. We'll see you at the park conference.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good Thanksgiving.
Drive safe.
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thank you, Marilyn, for keeping me honest. Again, nothing from the attorney. I will entertain a motion to pay for unpaid bills.
I make a motion to unpaid bills of $100,905.26.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Secretary, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Buckholz,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Magera,
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. All right. We will do now the director's report. Marilyn?
Okay, just a couple things I wanted to add to my written report. The IAPD conference is coming up in January. The early deadline to get the reduced rate is on December 1st. So if you would like to
I'll talk to you
go,
after this about that.
Gibby, if you would like to go, I need to have that registration in.
I should probably come in and talk with you and see if there's anything there that you would.
Right, yeah, so we can go through the book.
Or
Rick,
when we stop in
also, if
next
you
week.
want to go through the book with me, we could do that at some point. If you guys could do that before the Tuesday the 1st.
Next week,
That's-
come in and see you?
Yeah, I'll be here Monday and Tuesday
Monday
next
and
week.
Tuesday, okay.
Or the following Monday or Tuesday is okay.
Morning or afternoon is best for you?
I think Monday morning is good. I do have an appointment with the school district at noon on Monday. And Tuesday, we have our staff meeting, so a little bit later in the morning is good.
Okay. Had you talked to, any idea about that idea that Mr. Kevin had about the bus for Jesse and all, or was that kind of for parking and stuff, that'd be kind of insane?
Yeah, we didn't really pursue that a whole lot more because different people go down at different times. And I'm
Correct.
not sure about the parking on the
That would
of the
probably be,
bus.
with the bus, that
Yeah,
would probably be
so-
kind of bad.
Me and Kevin, we talked about it. He done called to train people to see if the cart will fit on the train.
Oh, I would think that they would have a way to get your scooter on the train.
You got a lift, that's how we got you on
Yeah.
there last time with your,
Wheelchair.
But, yeah,
me and Tom pushed you on the
Yeah, but
wheelchair?
that one time it broke,
Oh,
right?
that did, yeah, I forgot about it. You had to get on the other side. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
yeah, but me and Kevin probably would take the train down.
All right, well,
Okay, okay.
yeah, we can talk.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Further, the legal symposium, Eric and I attended the legal symposium that Illinois Association of Park Districts puts on. Again, a very good program. It's a day full of information. Some of the commentary from the attorneys that were doing the sessions was that it wasn't a very good year of information because everything was kind of negative for park districts. And some of the main things that I think we all need to be aware of and looking at is the property tax freeze. That seems to be very evident that that's going to happen. So it's just something that we should be watching for, but every time we have some kind of a get-together, it seems like that is part of the compromise that's going to happen in Springfield when they finally do reach a budget, that there will be a property tax freeze. Hopefully it will be limited to a couple of years or 2 or 3 years, but that will remain to be seen. IAPD does send us out updates when there's any information that we have, so I'll keep you updated on that. Again, we had the Ansel Glink meeting this morning where that was reiterated again, that the property tax freeze is probably going to happen. So we'll be watching that very specifically. Exempt employee, what is that called?
Fair Labor Standards Act?
Yes, thank you. The Fair Labor Standards Act is being reviewed, and the findings were supposed to come out in the end of 2015. They've extended that to the end of 2016, but there probably will be changes that will impact the Park District on exempt employees. And exempt employees means employees that meet either a wage limit or a job task analysis on whether they're exempt from being paid overtime, or they're an exempt employee who just works the required numbers of hours to get their job done. So I think that is going to have some impact on us, and it sounds like from what was stated this morning that it's not only, right now it looks like it's basically on the wage portion of it. So if you make up to a certain dollar amount, it looks like that's going to double. So that is probably going to encompass some of our full-time employees just in the wage part of it, but also in the type of work that you do and whether it's exempt. If you're a supervisor, But also if you're a supervisor who also goes out and does work in the field, that is gonna have an impact on, it sounds like that's what the final regulations are going to be. So that is gonna have an impact on us. And we talked about that at both of those, the legal symposium and this morning. We talked about tort immunity cases. Rob Bush always does a session about what's happening in the tort immunity cases. You know, that's, we have a lot of protections in the laws for public agencies. So we did cover quite a few of those. I have a full binder of information, so if you'd like to look at it, there's a lot of information to read. There's a lot of cases in it. You can read through the cases. So just let me know if you'd like to borrow that and just look it over. And then this morning we were talking about drone policy. Drones are probably the number one, if not in the top 5 gifts for Christmas this year. So I know Ansel Blink is aware of this and that we're all going to need to have policies that are going to address this. I'd like to talk to the school district, the city, and have kind of a joint meeting on if we can find a place that makes sense for all of us to have an area for drones to be utilized, and then address the other properties of the park district. I think that's a good approach to take, is if we're all kind of on the same page. And
That's been all over the news too about that.
right.
Yes.
And it's just going to become bigger.
Sure.
You have a question?
Don't shoot it down when you see it.
That's what we learned this morning.
What is to
A drone. That's called a drone. It's a little unmanned flying object that has a camera. Most of them have a camera attached to them.
Used for surveillance.
And, you know, it's like you operate it with a joystick or
Or
you
your
know,
phone.
and it operates on a battery, and it flies around.
You can do it from your phone or a,
So it's got propellers. The models that I've seen, I've seen a couple models, and there's 4 propellers on, you know, one on each corner, and it's 2-pound little plastic unit that holds the camera, and so it's
Yeah.
becoming, and they're a hobbyist type of equipment, but now they also have commercial uses. So, you know, those cool shots that you see of the mountains that you think maybe is a helicopter taking those, well, now they're taking those with these little drones. Instead of a big helicopter taking off, they have these little drones that take those aerial photos. So it's
Sports arenas and
Yeah.
stuff, that's what they're worried about, them quitting and falling on people. And
right.
What you're seeing a lot of today is a lot of real estate agents are using them to take aerial shots of the properties that they are
Trying to sell and put.
trying to sell. So when you have real estate in town, and we have a lot of park district property in town, we're going to run across a lot of park district properties and a lot of real estate properties overlapping each other, you know, coming, you know, against each other. So we have, you know, you have the hobbyist who wants to fly their drone, you've got real estate people that want to do their thing, and then you just have the people that want to annoy their neighbors and fly their drones. So there's all kinds of issues. I work for the city in law enforcement capacity, so we're starting to get those complaints.
Right.
isn't this something about Walmart supposed to do, or the Walmart or somebody supposed to do deliveries with?
Oh, Amazon.
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 Right. So the
That's
FAA
still
really.
Still coming out.
The Federal Aviation Administration is who is charged in the government with doing the rules and regulations, and there are some rules and regulations already in place, but they're still working.
It's in its infancy. They're at the crawl stage at this point. Literally, they're at the crawling stage.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's gonna be,
So it's something that we'll be looking at and we'll be bringing to you, that we're going to put something together and in place so that we, you know, have a response. I'd like to have a little more input from a few more people at the table before we make this final decision on how we want to
I
address
agree.
it. So
I agree.
And that was the main things that we talked about this today, at that, and came from the legal symposium. The final thing that I wanted to talk about was the coastal administration, or the coastal management grant. Kay?
Can I make one comment
Oh,
on that
yeah.
last thing? Years and years and years ago, in a lot of park districts across the country, they had RC, remote controlled
Planes.
planes, and they had designated parks specifically for those entities. So it's not a far-fetched idea, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that, we do have to understand that it's going to be a hobby and people are going to have them. The price is coming down. And so, to be proactive on it rather than reactive and say, no, we're not going to allow it anywhere, I think might be,
You're thinking of
Premature.
one of our biggest areas we have where we could,
Right.
for designate that.
More specifically, I think a policy of when and where and how, and the potential of a designated area.
Right.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something.
Oh, that's a good idea, and
that's
get all the
something-
three
Right.
together.
Right, and then the other major topic that we talked about this morning was the transgender issue that is in the news also, with the school district having a locker room issue with transgender students, and how that probably is going to affect park districts because of our facilities with locker rooms and washrooms, and so that is something that we are going to have to address also, and again, trying to be proactive rather than reactive to that, and following, Dirk Price was saying that could be a very high stakes poker game with the EEOC if we are not following what their guidelines are, which is very inclusive, and
Yeah.
so that's another thing that we'll be talking about soon, is how we're going to put that kind of policies in place. Just so you're aware that that's coming, and there's a lot of news about it right now because they're having that issue in District 211 in Palatine, so that's close to us. So following what they're doing there is a good idea for us to see how that's all going to pan out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then the last thing is the coastal management grant. Kay has been very diligent in going after some grants for us. That's one of the ways that we're trying to create some efficiencies and some get some extra dollars into the programs. So she was successful in getting a directional signage grant from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources for Hosa Park. We wrote a larger grant that was not funded, but it was good experience for Kay to write the grant. That was really to look at maybe some more programming at Hosa Park. But the signage is a $3,000 grant, which is, great for making sure that people, once they get out there, know where the park is and how to get down to the lakefront and enjoy the lakefront property that the park district has for this community.
A lot of people don't know that's there.
Right.
So
So,
it's not a matching one, it's just, it was 3,700, so we would just pay the 700. So-
Yeah, the 750, the total grant is 3,750, but the 750 is the in-kind of placing maintenance, actually
putting the sign.
installing the sign.
Is that sign, is that covering that, or is Bob, is that with maintenance, or how big holds the sign?
No, we'll
That's-
be purchasing the sign with the grant.
Yeah.
So we don't have to have matching dollars.
No.
No, just the 750 to
And
install.
they wanted to make it clear that it's a federal grant, it is not state-funded grant. So just keep that in mind, because the state is still struggling with their budgets and everything, and they wanted to make sure that we understood it was a federally funded project.
Yeah, so the The coastal management program is, we've gotten to know some of the staff and some of the people involved there through IDNR, and I think that it's been beneficial to us as a coastal community, which most people don't think of us as one of the North Shore communities, but we really are. We are on the shore. So we'll probably be applying for that grant again, the larger grant, to see if we can get some dollars for that. You know, it's very interesting. You guys remember we had a piece of that Solon Johnson boat that was sunk off of Lake Michigan that showed up on the shore, and we never really got that situated with the state of Illinois, and it floated back out to sea, out to the lake. But there is a lot of interesting information to share about Lake Michigan, and we're hoping, when we first put HOSA Park together, Bob was instrumental in putting informational signage out there that talked about the lake and the lake shore and the lake plain that HOSA Park is all part of. So we'd like to, bring that kind of information back to this community so they understand. HOSA Park was just part of the Chiwaukee Lake Plain that got Ramsar designation. I don't know if you remember that. We wrote a letter in support of that. There is some very unique ecological elements out there. There's some plant life, and the way that the dunes are, that doesn't happen very many places in the world. The way that has been developed over time. So it's a pretty unique and special park, and it's nice to, and as part of the city comprehensive plan, having this be a destination for the people of the world to come, because there are these interesting ecological elements. Making this a destination can only help Zion, and it's one of the things that they came up in the comprehensive plan. So HOSA Park figures into that, I think, very specifically. So, I think we're part of making this community better, utilizing all of our resources.
The HOSA Park, you know how that name came about? Was that the beginning of the Zion from our biblical standpoint? Or did you know, Bob, who chose that name?
Actually, no, I don't.
Okay.
HOSA?
Isn't that a Bible name?
Yeah, most of the parks are.
Yeah.
Even like out by Bill's subdivision, that's one of our newer parks, is Tabor. That's a biblical name also. So
Sure.
I would think that that's why. I don't know who named that park. Do you? HOSA?
Take a little work, we'll figure it out.
Somewhere it's on one of those maps you got. So that was all that I wanted to add on my report.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
I do have a question about the IMRF contribution rate. Is that work into the levy? Is that part of the levy conversation?
No.
Because I noticed.
Well, we take that into account when we are looking at the levy for IMRF, how that fluctuates from year to year, because it does. It changes. If you remember, last year it went down by quite a...
Yeah, a lot.
6 percentage points or so.
6 percentage points, yeah. This year it's going up just a little bit. So it does figure into the levy when we're looking at how much. So, and when Eric was going through the financial report, we reduced the levy for IMRF last year because of that 6-point drop. So when we are doing the budget this year, we will look at, making sure we can cover that. But we have a very healthy fund in IMRF. So, and we reduced staff over this past year. So that reduces our, what we pay out on that too. So, yes, it does have some impact there, and we do look at what the rate is. It's nice that we get it before we go into the budget.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll move down to number 10. And this is the approval of the ordinance of 821 is the 2016 tax levy. I came over and sat down with Marilyn and Eric, and we went over both scenarios that they had drafted up. And I will tell you again, and I know I keep harping on this, but this is true. The amount of work that goes into these budgets and tax levies and everything else, it takes hours. And again, Eric and Marilyn, you guys did a fantastic job coming up with these two scenarios that kind of fit the way we're going to vote on one of the two scenarios. So I recommend, and sitting down with Eric for quite a while and Marilyn, I recommend we go with scenario 1. And I'm going to let Eric and Marilyn expound on that because I'm not smart enough to get into the weeds on this stuff. So I'll leave it to the experts to explain it. And again, Eric, it's all you. But I recommend we go with scenario 1.
So we did scenario 1 and scenario 2. If you remember last year, we did a levy reduction. And that was one of the scenarios. We had 3 scenarios last year. This year we decided to do 2. And scenario 2 is a 0% change in the tax rate. So all we would really be, the change in the extension would really be due to the change in the EAV, which is at the top corner of the page. You're looking at scenario 2. So the estimate is that we are actually going to have a plus equalized assessed valuation, which we have not had for
Quite a while.
5 or 6 years at least. So that is great news for Zion that, that is moving in a better direction. We didn't actually think that was going to happen this year. We thought it was going to take another year. So that is a really good good news for us that the EAV is positive this year, even though it's only 2.42%. It's positive. So we looked at a 0 change in the tax rate. We are still meeting as taxing bodies in the community and talking about the tax rate. Zion still has the highest tax rate in Lake County, and I think that our constituents are very well aware of that. So it's something that we have to be cognizant of. But then if you go to scenario 1, this is a slight increase. It's less than 1% change in the tax rate for the Zion Park District, which is a very small percentage of the rate for the taxpayers of Zion. And so this captures a little bit more of the extent of the our ability to extend for the taxes. It works on the positive EAV and brings us up a little bit from where we were last year at a negative. We actually decreased our rate last year with our levy. And one of the factors I think that we need to think about when we're thinking about voting for this is if we do have a property tax freeze, that we could be at this level for 3 years. And so as much as I am a proponent of trying to make an impact on the tax rate of this community, because I think that's a responsible way for us to approach this, this is less than 1% rate change. It puts us in a much better position if this is where we're going to stay for 3 years. And so that's kind of the explanation that we gave to Phil when we met with him, just to kind of explain through this. I don't know, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean,
So that's...
We did a lot of scenarios. The one thing though that you do need to be aware of in scenario 1 is that we have taken our recreation rate to its limit. It will now be at the the top
We won't
limit.
get, right.
We were not there before, but now general and recreation will be at the limit.
But what does that actually mean to us? That we're at the limit?
Well, one thing is the only way that those funds will be able to receive any more tax dollars will be with the EAV increase. So we can't raise the rate in either of those funds higher than these fund limit rates that are shown. So the only way to capture any more dollars or get any more dollars in those funds will be through EAV increase.
Which we, if we hope that if we're going in a plus direction, that we
That's
continue
the
to
way
do
it's
that, but
continued.
we can't guarantee that.
Right.
And we've been very close. We were at the rate in general. We've been there for several years. We were not at the top of the rate in recreation. We had some room there to move that up. So this would take us to the top of that rate. And I just think you just need to be aware of that it is what it is. We can't go any higher there. So if the EAV drops,
Right.
it will be at that rate based upon the EAV, whatever it is. So it doesn't give us much flexibility, but we didn't have a lot of flexibility to begin with because we were almost to the rate. But we took it there because we thought that was the thing to do for this year to.
So we get to the top of the rate, so there's no problem. We wouldn't worry about going any higher anyway.
We can't.
No,
Right.
we can't.
That's that,
We can't.
yeah.
Yeah, so then we just have to hope the EAV goes up.
Correct.
That's where we'll have
And if
some.
the EAV goes down, what?
It'll just be at that rate. It will be less money because the rate will be multiplied by the EAV. That's how we get the math. It's the rate multiplied by the EAV.
Okay.
And you called Lake County, and they're usually pretty much on the mark.
Well, yeah, we did call them. We checked with them once in early September and got a preliminary EAV number at that point. And then I also called them maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I think
And it only fluctuated by like 500,000 from what she gave me initially. Obviously there's still tax challenges and things that are outstanding that could affect this final number. But hopefully it will be very close to this.
I
And
think,
so tonight, we are just doing the estimate, but next month we'll do the actual levy. So this is just the estimate, but, I think it's good to talk about all of the issues that we have, because unless there's some major change, this probably will be what we go
we'll
with.
go with. Are there any questions from the commissioners on this? Again, I had a very good conference with Marilyn and Eric, and I feel very comfortable with going with scenario one. And the reason I had Eric and Marilyn explain it to you, because they're a lot smarter than I am, and I don't know enough about it to go in the weeds with it. So with that said, is there any questions from any of the commissioners on?
I got comment. I got comment.
You got a comment?
Yeah, if it correct me if I'm wrong, between 1 and 2 we are talking about $29,197. Correct?
That's correct.
That's not a lot.
That change in extension number, Jess, is on that far right-hand side where it says, dollars change in extension is the change in extension from the current year. It's comparing it to the current year. So as Jesse said, scenario 2 would be a $71,000 increase from the current year, and scenario 2 would be $29,000 more than that. So it'd be,
No, I took,
it'd be $100,000 in scenario 1.
no, that's not what I did. I took the 336,000, 336,339 and subtracted 307,142.
It's exactly the same calculation.
Right.
Yeah,
It's the same.
came up with what I
The
said.
29,000.
Yeah.
Any other questions from any of the commissioners? Rick, do you have any? Okay, so do we have to vote tonight on scenario 1 or 2, or do we wait till next meeting?
No, you have to vote
Vote on-
on the
okay.
estimate of the tax levy.
Okay.
Resolution number 821.
All right,
And then you would state which scenario.
What scenario?
You want to, in your motion.
okay. All right. So, with that said, I entertain a motion to approve resolution, or proof of ordinance 821, 2016 tax levy estimate.
Are we reading this? Are we reading? I'm confused.
Yeah.
And what we're reading? Are we reading the resolution?
And then whatever scenario we're going to go with.
Okay, I'll make a motion for resolution number 821, a resolution establishing the estimate of tax levy for the Zion Park District. And I make a motion to approve scenario 1.
Have a second?
Did I say that right?
I'll second it.
Secretary, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Buckholz,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Magera,
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. Okay, item number 11, resolution 822. And if you can
Yes.
kind of give us a,
Yeah, this resolution is in support of us applying for the Community Development Block Grant Program. Again, Kay was instrumental in writing this grant with the help of Bob. The Community Development Block Grant Program is through the,
HUD,
yeah,
housing.
yeah, the Department of Housing and Urban
What's
Development.
that stand for, Jim?
I got it right, didn't I?
Urban development.
And we have to work with the city as a partner on this because they have to sponsor us since this is for cities. Although we were encouraged, Kay went to one of the HUD meetings and we were encouraged to write a grant for, we wrote it for Herman Park, which is one of our, in our more underserved, undeveloped, developed areas, which is what they're looking for. Those are the grant opportunities that HUD is looking for to provide services for the people in those parts of the community. So the city has agreed to sponsor us, and Kay has written a grant for $100,000 for improvements to the Herman Park facility and grounds. As you know, we did not get a Kaboom grant this year. We were hoping to do the playground with Kaboom, but that did not go through. And so this addresses some of the playground issues, some of the walking path issues that we have out there, some of the lighting in the parking lot area, and the accessibility of the building with new accessible doors.
Did you say the picnic shelter?
And a picnic shelter upgrade. So we need to pass, or we would like you to pass this resolution to support that grant, and we have, again, put that through with the assistance of the City of Zion.
Is this, Kay, is this, maybe I'm confused, but this is HUD, right? Is this from the state when you write that grant?
No, HUD is federal dollars.
I remember you said that, because that's why I was wondering, because state would be, yeah, right.
Yeah, no,
HUD
the
is
state's not,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
So community development block grant money is federal money.
federal.
And
Yeah,
they
'cause I-
really are specific about goals and objectives, so you have to meet those. And what Marilyn's talking about is that they map out all Lake County, and if you're in the low to moderate area, you can apply for the grants through that program.
And that has nothing to do about our Lake County being one of the highest taxed areas here, that's two different things.
Very much so.
And this is also non-matching, right?
There is some in-kind into it. It's $20,000 for the in-kind. But that is going to be used with labor. So our maintenance staff will do the installs and do the renovation.
And that
pieces of it.
100 grand covers everything? Because I know you said some lighting, some.
Right, so
But
we-
It's adding 2 additional lighting, it's adding a automatic door opener for the building. It's moving the picnic shelter up closer to the building so it's handicap accessible. So it meets goal number 7 in their grant, which is handicapped accessible.
These are things that need to be done.
Right, so
Yeah.
upgrading the playground, resurfacing that and
And the
moving
walking
things
paths, we're
around.
gonna expand the walking paths out there. So it's more accessible to
I like that, yes.
people.
Okay.
So it's a great plan, it's a great grant. Kay and Bob did a good job, and the city, we really appreciate them sponsoring us because they are writing their own grants. So that's great that we have that partnership with them, and so in order for our application to be complete, we need to look at Resolution 822, and we recommend that you pass it.
Okay. I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 822, the CDBG grant application.
I'd like to make a motion to Resolution 822 CDBG grant application.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Secretary, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown. Aye. Commissioner Buckholz.
Aye.
Commissioner McGarrett,
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. All right, we will have to go into executive session.
No,
Okay.
don't miss the invitation to the senior Christmas lunch, which is on December 16th. This time it will be at Shepherd's Brook. If you are going to come, if you could let me know, that would be great. Make sure we save you a seat.
I refuse to.
Is that in the packet?
Yeah, it was in the packet. It looks like
Yeah.
this. It's got,
I think myself and Vice President Cheryl McGrath will be there.
You're right on that at lunch.
All right. Anything else, man? Okay, I will need to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'd make a motion to adjourn our meeting of the regular Zion Park District meeting of November 19th, 2015.
I have a second.
Second.
Secretary, please read the roll call.
Commissioner McGarrett,
Aye.
Commissioner Buckholz,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown. Aye. Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. All right.